and Gio.
BT and Sal.
Kevin and Tiki.
Keith McPherson, your nighttime host on The Fan.
On the fan.
On the fan.
On the fan.
It's WFAN Daily, hosted by Pete Hoffman.
Knicks win opening night, and we're going to celebrate a little bit and talk about how much this team looks already different in game one of the season. And I'm going to bring in a special guest as a beloved Knicks fan and just the man that I've grown to love very much, Anthony Gallo. As always, you can follow him, Pico_Day_Gallo on the X and the Insta, something like that too, probably.
Yeah, all of it. Well, the Insta's Pico de Gallo 24. So I don't know why I did different ones, but we are here. And I'm pumped up. Honestly, I thought for a few minutes in the third quarter we'd be talking about a loss.
Yeah, I mean, there was some ups and downs again in this. It's the first game of the season, but
right.
Let's take it from the very beginning. First of all, what did you think about the starting lineup?
I was okay with it. I like that because I think if Josh Hart's healthy, they probably run Josh Hart in the starting lineup. If this is assuming Mitch is not healthy. Mitch is obviously supposed to be the starter. It feels like they didn't confirm it, but it feels like they've all but confirmed it. But Purdy played well in the early stages, but then Cat, who's in midseason form, taking dumb fouls, immediately takes those 2 fouls, and I could see Mike Brown immediately switch what he was trying to do. And at first I was like, they're going to suffer because of this. Because I was like, you should stick to the plan and just take out Cat. He brought in, I forget what the guy's name is. He was one of their, like, he had a big preseason. Simpson? Yeah, I'll bring it up right now.
Was it Ty Simpson? Samson?
I'm going to tell you right now.
Number 50.
Yes, it was Jameson. Jamison?
That's what I said. Ty Jamison.
Literally, he came on in the preseason, and yeah, we were close. We got it. It took us a little bit, but he was fine. He did not disrupt the flow of anything. I could tell there was some nerves, but right out the gate, instantly, the offense was exactly what I was hoping it would be, which is a lot of fluid motion, a lot of getting up the court. You didn't see Brunson hanging back in the backcourt anymore. It was he took off or Bridges took off. At times, OG took off, and they were moving out quick and trusting that Cat, who can, handle the ball, can pass, and he is a decent passer. And we saw that a lot more early on than later on with the Knicks. But I loved what I saw offensively. And I tweeted it out as a joke, but I was shocked. We're in the second quarter, and I feel like I saw 11 different players already. And
yes,
it took us till game 9 last year to see 11 different guys in Tibbs' rotation. And this is not to crap on Tibbs. This is just reacting to what we saw tonight.
Yeah.
And I felt like Brunson didn't have it early. Cat was in it, foul trouble. And I felt good about all but the first 8 to 9 minutes of the third quarter, or late last 8 to 9 minutes of the third quarter.
Right. I think you nailed on something that I saw very early on, just the rotations. And I don't know if that's because of the Cat fouls, because of the fact that Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart weren't there. But I did notice just the constant, you never saw, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember a time where I saw whether it was Brunson, Cat, OG, and who's the fourth guy I'm thinking of?
Bridges.
I don't remember really seeing them on the court all at the same time. I really don't.
They played critical down the stretch, and then even that, he played the hot hand. He didn't force anyone back in. I thought Bridges was phenomenal in the first half.
Yep.
I like what I saw. This could be more than just, he was, I'm looking at him now, 6 of 11 from the field. And he hit his only 3 in the corner early in the first half. But it could just be another year with his teammates. But even though it was early on, most of his damage was done, Bridges looked very comfortable, which is all I was asking for. When last year he didn't look comfortable at all. And I liked what I saw. OG was phenomenal. And they did a good job. And you don't have Josh Hart. You don't have Mitchell Robinson. And again, outside of a run in the third quarter, they handled it really well. And I loved what I saw. But you're right. There was times where they went very early to take away the Towns injury. They went very early to the bench just rotationally. And it was nice to see. And I did not expect to see guys. The Jameson thing was shocking just because I'm sure that was strictly because of Cat.
Right.
We saw 11 different guys tonight, and that's awesome.
Well, and what did you think of, like, I mean, obviously, you nailed Mikal Bridges because early on you saw Brunson wasn't really on his game shot-wise, but
Right.
Bridges was able to pick up the pieces, and he did look pretty smooth that first quarter, second quarter, where I just felt like maybe they're going to try to isolate all of these guys separately and not make it like, hey, there's the five. Like, that's what the problem maybe was with Tibbs. And again, you're right. This is not a crap on Tibbs thing, but like when you put the five best players on the court for about 90% of the game, and the ball basically flows through Jalen Brunson, there really is no flow. This is now separating that and saying, hey, listen, we're going to give Brunson a shot. We're going to Bridges a shot. Cat's going to have his moments. Everyone's going to have their moments. And Bridges was able to step up when he was needed.
And the key there, what you're saying too, is that's not even a criticism of Brunson. That's just how it was just Brunson bail us out for the last 2 years. Just Brunson bail us out. Tonight, what we saw was, and Jalen hit some big shots later, even at the end of the game, Cat, a lot of Deuce too. Deuce was maybe the most impactful player after OG tonight. But you saw a lot of Cat late, and I think that's the key. Where Tibbs had his great had his strengths. His one weakness was he drove everything into the ground with the team just playing them over and over again. And I think what we'll see later in the season and come postseason time is Brunson will have fresher legs. We saw a lot of frustration out of Brunson in that Pacers series when he was getting beat up and you're playing him 45 minutes, obviously 40, whatever it is. But there was something from everyone I saw that I liked tonight, but the biggest thing, win or loss, was I needed to see the offense look more modern than it has in past years, and we saw that.
It was actually very refreshing to see other people on the court besides the main five. And let's go through a little bit. Yabusele, how did you feel with him? I mean, obviously, scoring-wise, he put up a big old donut.
Well,
he was there. He looked big. By the way, what is he, 283?
Yeah, he's jacked. And I see Roberto Torres say it, and I don't think he had a slow start. I think he played to the game. I think that he made some mistakes, but defensively, all I kept hearing was this guy may be a defensive liability. I saw the rotations I needed from him, and I'm not getting ahead of myself. I do think a lot of what we saw defensively tonight may have just been home opener, season opener. Guys are more jacked up. I'm not going to say it can't be like this, but I just know from, the way Mike Brown's teams have played, the way this group of guys has played outside of OG, Bridges, and Hart, and Mitch, that they are not the most defensively fluid bunch. Deuce is a great defender as well. But I thought everyone defensively, I thought everyone did their jobs. Cat still sagging off too much, and Mobley bailed them out by not hitting. Basically, the Cavs going one-on-one with Mobley early was killing them. And Cat was getting bailed out because he's not the most elite shooter. But I need to see more because they're not going to switch OG on their main, like the main guy that they're focused on. Like it was OG a lot on Mitchell. And the one thing I like too is it always felt like they had Mitchell covered by OG or Bridges. And then if they weren't in, it was Deuce. I liked it. I wasn't stressed at all. And I also think that last year, like that third quarter would have broken that team last year. And again, it's one game. So I'm not making it seem like this is, the end all be all and they're just going to run away with it. But that third quarter last year felt like that's where the Knicks would have folded and ended up going into the fourth quarter down and then never coming back. And they weathered the storm. And even in that run, there were key plays, and there was two by McBride, where twice they went on a run and he came up and hit a big shot, which you're going to need 5 or 6 guys in the NBA today that can hit a momentum-killing shot like that. And again, it didn't completely slow them, but I really was impressed by specifically what Deuce and OG brought tonight the most, and the early on from Bridges. Just we need to sustain that through the whole game.
Yeah. Now, I will say this much. I know the Cat's always going to be up for criticism. Everyone's going to always call him soft, which I can't stand. But I thought he had a big talk about where the run really started was after he had the N1 where he went up strong off the backboard, put it in, and then hit the free throw to make it 92-89 in the fourth quarter. And I thought he went up really strong on that and with the contact and everything. So when you talk about soft, I know people always criticize about the defense and just like, oh, he's dumb penalty, dumb fouls, dumb this, dumb that. But when I talk about soft, guy's physical, guy can go and put up a bucket when he needs to, even with contact and score. Like he could have easily missed that and had to go shoot 2 free throws. Instead, the N1 made it a little bit different, like helped a little bit with that lead right there.
You're nailing it.
Yeah. And again, I just think that he had some major moments in this game where his game is not perfect. But can we agree that he's one of the best bigs that the Knicks have ever seen?
Yeah. I mean, he is, besides Pat, he is the most talented, big man they've had in I wasn't around for Willis Reed, and I think Willis Reed was more of like a forward type, but I think, and I like him at the 4. I like him defensively at the 4. He's not a good defender, and he takes dumb fouls. Offensively, he's not soft. It's Knick fans need someone to get mad at, and it's him. And the guy breathes, and they freak out. He is going to be fine. Like it was, we were into the second quarter, and people are talking about his body language sucks. Oh my God, what's going on with Cat? It's like, can we breathe a little bit? Like just a little. Like we don't need to overreact to every. We're going to do it. I do it, in that third quarter, I'm like, here we go again. Same crap, different year. This team's going to fold. And then, I have to take a deep breath. And then also, I want to go crazy through the game. They win. And I'm like, all right, it's game 1. We got 81 of these left. But and again, he hit the biggest shots in the biggest moments. Him and Deuce carried them in the fourth quarter. And OG hit a big 3. And of course, he had this ceiling dunk. But that's 7 points. I think he ended up with 9 or 8 in the fourth quarter, but he had 7 points up to that point at the end 1 that you're talking about. And that kind of extended the lead. Deuce was hitting big shots, was making big plays defensively. They got the offensive foul on the screen, and that's what they need to do. And I'm telling you, every night, if they're going to be what they should be, these 2 teams that we saw tonight, more than anyone, have the most pressure in the Eastern Conference on them. And in my opinion, they should both be flirting with high 50, low 60 wins. And if the Knicks are going to do that, they're going to need contributions from their best players, but also guys like Deuce, like we saw tonight. We saw a little bit from Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah,
I was very happy. And I'm not expecting Yabusele to be an offensive force. He is a good offensive player. I'm more encouraged by what I saw defensively from him tonight, even if it wasn't perfect, than the fact that he had 0 points.
I was just happy to see that Tyler Kolek had some actual real minutes in the game, dude.
Right. And we're burying it, and he was great. I mean, listen, I am not anti-Tyler Kolek. I just never thought he was as good as some people made him out to be. Knicks fans were like panicking last year. Why is he not playing anymore? He played okay defensively, which is an improvement, and he was great offensively. He clearly sees the court, has great IQ. I like everything in his offensive game. He had a couple big jumpers, and it was nice. Like, I was shocked. I was like, oh, we're getting some serious. We didn't get any Daddy minutes, but we got some Coles minutes. And I was like, all right. And again, the 3 young guys, obviously Daddy we didn't see any of tonight. But Hoff Purdy was good. And I like the effort he brings. He's not going to start, but tonight was a nice little glimpse that when they need a starter, to fill in for Mitch, maybe even Cat at times, I do think if Cat's out and Mitch is healthy, they'll go smaller with the lineup. But if Mitch is out and Cat is healthy, they will go with a Hoff Purdy type, or maybe even Yabusele. But I like Yabusele off the bench because eventually, let's say they're all healthy, Mitch is starting. Yabusele, Josh Hart, Jordan Clarkson, and Deuce is a great second unit that can run the floor.
Yeah, and I do love Hoff Purdy because he always seems to make a crazy block, and he did that early on against Jared Allen. I'm like, dude, that was awesome. Like, it was a bad play because he had a breakaway, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, no, I was trying to see how many rebounds. He had 5 rebounds. So, 18 minutes, 5 rebounds. He had a block, and the effort's there. But that block is huge. Like, I honestly, it was early in the games, but like that was it. I was like, oh, here we go. The Knicks are barely starting now, and we're already doing the same thing.
Because you feel like at any point in time, the Cavaliers are a good team. We can't remember that Cavaliers are a really good team that has a lot of talent that's always that could be beating the Knicks in the Eastern Conference.
They dominated the Knicks last year too. That's why I had Stockholm syndrome. I'm like, here we go. They're going to blow us out by 40.
Right. So this game could have been opened up by the Cavaliers at any moment, and thankfully the Knicks really were able to suffocate them. Another guy that I was kind of interested. Well, and again, going back to where I was saying too, just to get back to the Kolek thing, it was really nice to see that it didn't take a blowout to get some of these guys like Tyler Kolek in there, and you were able to get him in a groove where it wasn't like 5 people are entering the game at the same time, and there's only a minute and a half left, and everyone wants to take a shot. So, like, if Kolek gets the ball, he's got to pass it off or whatever it is. He has to make an open shot out of nowhere. You were able to really see these guys thrive a little bit in with the minutes they played. They were meaningful. It wasn't just, hey, we got 2 minutes to play today, and go. Let me see what you got.
It wasn't, and they were meaningful minutes, and the fact that Kolek. Jordan Clarkson, Yabusele, Deuce, these guys I expected to play. Yeah, I not even Shamet, but those 3 I expected to play meaningful minutes. But Shamet, Kolek, I mean, Jamison didn't really do anything, but he did not ruin the flow of the offense, and he also, was fine defensively. It was 8 minutes, but Kolek, Shamet, and then of course Hoff Purdy, like I expected in the rotation, but he started tonight. It was good to see them playing critical minutes that mattered, even if it was 6 minutes in the third quarter or 6 minutes in the fourth quarter. They mattered, and Donovan Mitchell got hot, and they were able to weather the storm on that too. There was a lot of positives, and it felt a lot different than last year. And the rotation is something we're going to have to get used to, load management, and we're going to have to get used to guys, being taken out, and not. It's going to be an adjustment. There's going to be a point this year where Knicks fans, including myself, are going to be like, why? Like, Brunson's going to play 36 minutes, and it's going to feel like in a moment they take him out. Like, why did we take Brunson out at that point? And it's like, because we're so used to these guys playing damn near the whole game. I mean, Bridges never got a rest last year, and OG played major minutes. Josh Hart plays major minutes. And it'll be good for Josh when he gets back to not play 40 minutes a night, and that'll benefit him.
Right. You look at the starters. So OG had the most with 37 minutes, but then Brunson 34, Bridges 33, Towns 31. You could already see like the drop in minutes. I mean, this would have been 40 plus for everybody, the main starters. You know what I mean? So that's already a significant difference. Yeah. Now, again, Hart and Mitch Robinson hadn't played today. They were not playing. Mitch was kind of like last minute that this kind of happened. Josh Hart, we kind of knew. But here's the thing.
I expected Mitch not to play, though. I did expect him not to play.
Now, but I feel like a lot of people were shocked by it. Maybe it was
it was confirmed later. I just didn't expect the way that they talked about him, and maybe it's just me being like, the pessimist. I thought he wasn't going to play.
What are you, a Mets fan?
No, I meant like pessimist when it comes to his injuries. No, I'm normally Mr. Positive with the Knicks. But yeah, you're right. And it was they stepped up. The cat stuff was weird. He was questionable, and he was doubtful, and then he was questionable again, and then he looked fine. I think once in the second quarter or the third quarter, I saw him like kind of like punching his quad, but that might have just been a reaction to something he did.
Yeah. But again, we're talking about with those two, when they do get into the lineup, do you think that we're going to see some of these guys that a Kolek or a Clarkson, lesser minutes for them entirely, or just sit the whole game, or are we still going to see this rotation? And if they played 11 today, are they going to play 13?
No, I think that Jameson won't play. And I think that Shamet, more than Kolek, may be the guy who does. I think it's going to be a fluid situation. I think we're going to see, outside of OG, Bridges, and Brunson, and I could be wrong about this, I think maybe, actually, I'm not going to say OG. Outside of Bridges and Brunson, when it comes to starters, they're going to get rested at times this year. I don't know legally what they're allowed to call it, but we might see a quad injury pop up or an illness. And even if they don't, I do think there's going to be games where he dives deeper into that bag and deeper into that bench and plays guys longer than he normally would. I don't think it's going to be like last year where we knew Bridges and Josh Hart were going to play 38 minutes a night, and then we were going to see Deuce for 20, and that was it. Like, it was just going to be the starters and Mitch when he got healthy. I think it's going to be fluid. I think tonight, what do we have? We had off the bench, Deuce had 26 minutes. Everyone was around 14. And then in the starting lineup, they were all low to mid 30s, except for OG. And I think if OG wasn't red hot and also super effective defensively, and if he really didn't slump at all this game, they probably would have given him a breather too. So like next Friday, if they end up giving somebody a breather, I won't be shocked.
I feel like OG is the most underrated player on this team. Like every year we talk about Brunson, we talk about Josh Hart because him and Brunson are boys. We talk about Cat now because of how much money he makes and all that stuff. And OG just seems to be like another huge defensive play today. I forgot who he stole the ball from and then finished with a dunk. Like, I mean, he is just all over the court, hits big threes, does a little bit of everything. I feel like he's got to be the guy. Like, he's not the sixth man, obviously, because he's in the starting five, but he's definitely the most underrated, in my opinion.
I think 100%. I think that people attach his contract and they want to crush him for it. He's also the most versatile guy they have. Defensively, he does everything. He can shoot. He can dribble. He can create his own shot. He's not Brunson with that. He could go to the rim. And he's the most versatile guy they have. He's not the offensive force that Brunson is, and he's not, Cat offensively either. But when you put together, there's a reason why he got what he got contract-wise, and he would have gotten that if he left the Knicks. Like, he is an elite defender. He should have been all defense last year. Even if it was second team, he should have been all defense last year. And before he got hurt, Wemby was still healthy at the time too. I thought he was going to be the runner-up in Defensive Player of the Year. When he got hurt, he misses the allotment of games, and then he came back. He wasn't as great, but he is. Everyone talks about Cat, honestly, if Cat just does his thing, and OG takes that next step and is consistent, the Knicks can go very far if everyone else just does what they did last year. And Bridges has to be better. That's obviously I'm obviously underselling at times how inconsistent he was. But OG's the one that's going to take them to that next level. And we saw it at times in the playoffs last year. When he was struggling offensively, they struggled mightily. Even more so than because, they survived some games where Brunson didn't play that great in the postseason. And why? Because those were games where Cat and OG stepped up. And you're right, he is underrated. I think he's a guy that around the league is probably underrated, but a lot of people understand the impact he brings.
The Bridges stuff, though, is interesting because I think last year we all sat there and criticized him for not, being who we thought he was supposed to be, wasn't able to put up points. But really, his most significant moments were when Brunson was hurt and he had to fill in for Brunson. And that's when we saw Mikal Bridges kind of take off. Now it's only game one, again, like we keep on saying, but it does feel like they're going to be able to find a way to utilize everybody and highlight everyone's strengths. And to me, I'm not going to sit here and say Mike Brown's a genius already, but it does seem like it's more effective than it was previous years.
Well, I think this is expected. Mike Brown is a good offensive coach, and I think that is what we should expect. Defensively is where I don't want to overreact because defensively they were very good today. This is a Cavs team that was putting up 120 plus last year easily. They were the best offensive team statistically. And if you take away that 8 minutes where Donovan Mitchell was going off, the Knicks defensively were great. And they didn't shoot well from three. I think Brunson was 1 of 9. Like, let's see if they were 40 from three tonight. The 35% is not going to kill you, but they also survived the team hitting 19 3-pointers and shooting 41% from three. But they also forced 15 turnovers. Like, they did a lot of things good, and that was a Cavs team. They didn't turn the ball over a lot last year. And at 15 is not a lot, but it's still a good number to get to. And there was points off turnovers, which is you could get turnovers, but if you're not turning those into points, it's not going to help you. If you're asking me out of 10 right now, I'm giving this 8.5. That's how happy. The only thing that would have made it a perfect 10 is if like Brunson was lights out and Towns was lights out and they blew them out.
Yeah, I mean Brunson, you got to think of. I mean, I think he was 5 for 18. He shot
something like that, and he only hit 1 3.
Yeah, but he had 12 free throws. So I mean that makes the difference. Again, doing the dirty work, driving, and that's all good. But overall, for
real quick before you move on too, because I don't want to lose this thought. Because Knicks fans, we're very sensitive. I know we're still getting used to being in this mode. Every superstar in the league, at some point, outside of maybe Jokic and Giannis, gets called a free throw merchant. Just relax. Let him call. SBA was the best player in the league last year, and they call him free throw merchant. He won a game yesterday on a free throw. We don't need to react. Let him get mad. Who cares? I don't care if he shoots 20 free throws a night. If we're winning, I do not care.
Do you? Because it's funny, they mentioned it rather quickly about Jalen Brunson and what Mike Brown expected out of him to really just set and shoot, not dribble, not ISO, not plan as much, but they really wanted him to just kind of set and shoot. That's it. Like don't plan as much or whatever the case is. And was that why he was just a little bit off today? Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe I think that it's just rhythm. It's early. He still had some, typical Brunson buckets. I think Mike Brown doesn't want him to get into savior mode early because I always go back to the Melo era. Everyone always used to call Melo like a black hole. And Kobe said it best. If I pass the ball once and you give it back to me, I'm shooting it. But you also don't want the teammates just looking to get the guy back the ball. And at times last year, if Bridges would do this, Josh Hart would do this, Towns would do this, and it would just be like their Towns wouldn't even get involved in the offense. They'd give Brunson the ball and just hope that he bailed them out. If everyone's moving and they're getting open 3-point shots for Brunson, he's one of the better 3-point shooters in the league. If they're getting open 3-point shots for him, it's going to turn into buckets at the rim for him also because now he's not ISO. It's not him just sitting there. He's small. The defenders are going to key in on him. We saw it in the postseason. How many times was it they couldn't get a bucket and it's like, we need Brunson to go get a bucket, and then they would ISO and they would lock in on him. It's better if everything's moving and you occasionally go to those ISOs.
So again, first game out of the way. It looked good. I'm not going to say it looked dominant, but it looked really good. I was very happy with it. There were some people criticizing Mike Brown this going into the season, thinking that this is not a team that's going to go too far. What do you have to say to those people?
I think people also I think the people that I love Tibbs. Tibbs is I'm 34. I do not have a fond memory of Pat Riley, and my memory of Jeff Van Gundy is him bailing on the team. 2000, whatever it was, 2001, 2002, whatever it was. He bailed on the team. I don't have a lot of great memories of those guys. Tibbs got a special place in my heart. I think there is a group of people, and in the media, there's a lot of great writers. I think they're also very loyal to Tibbs. I think a lot of people don't want to admit that the Knicks hired a guy who was Tibbs adjacent, but he was a different version of that. I hear people saying Mike Brown had LeBron James. It's like, well, Tibbs had Derrick Rose. Tibbs has never gone to a team and not had great talent. The Knicks brought in Brunson and Towns and OG. It's not like he developed these guys. The guy he impacted the most was Julius Randle, and Knicks fans ran him out of town. I love Tibbs. I also was not in love with Mike Brown's hiring. I was all for it when it was rumored, and there wasn't really a lot of options out there. And no one got fired. The Knicks were the only team hiring a head coach. So no one was going to, people are like, oh, well, what about Spoelstra? Pat Riley's not trading you Eric Spoelstra.
Jason Kidd.
And I didn't want Jason Kidd. I was not this gigantic Jason Kidd lover. I don't think he's a good coach. But I was not sitting here thinking, oh, man, if it's Jason Kidd or Mike Brown, we're in trouble. Even with Taylor Jenkins, I like Mike Brown as a coach. I think we forget what Mike Brown did with the Kings 2 years ago. And he got fired not because they were just terrible. It felt that team. Watch what happens with the Kings. That's all I'm saying. Watch what happens with the Kings, and then tell me what exactly the problem was. That De'Aaron Fox had given up at that point. Like, I am very excited to see what he can do. He's also on the hot seat. Like, I hate to break it to you, whether it was Tibbs, it could have been Spoelstra, it could have been Steve Kerr, it could have been whoever. Greg Popovich, obviously, he's not coaching again, but whoever it was that was stepping into these shoes is going to have the most pressure a Knicks coaches had on them in 30 years. That's the point. That's what we wanted. We want expectations. If he fails, we should get on him. Also, we should get on the players. Like, if they fail this year, it's also not going. By fail, I mean, like, they get back to the Eastern Conference Finals, Leon Rose's job is safe. You're not firing that guy. But if they get to the second round and they get beat in a series they're favored in again, Leon Rose's job should be on the line. But if they get back to the Eastern Conference Finals and the goal should be the NBA Finals, I don't think that's outlandish. I'm not saying they have to win it, but to get to the NBA Finals should be the next step. And if you get there and you get beat by a better Western Conference team, whatever. But we have to get there first.
So it's not championship or bust.
No, because I don't. So I'm going to say this for both the Knicks and the Cavs. They both have to make the finals this year. One of them is going to. Or I guess the Cavs, if they make the Eastern Conference Finals, it is a jump. But those two teams in the East are never going to have. I'm not saying they will have no chance, but this is the easiest chance they're ever going to have. Because next year you'll get Tatum back. Halliburton will be back. You don't know what other moves will be made. The Sixers may be healthy. The Sixers could blow it up. They won tonight, though. VJ Edgecombe had 30 points in his debut. So you can't just take them lightly. So this is the best chance they're going to have. But I think the best four teams are probably in the Western Conference. That Rockets team is going to be scary. I think the Nuggets are one of the better teams. I think the Thunder have a legit shot at repeating. And then there's other teams in the West that if a couple of things, if Kyrie comes back in January and Cooper Flag is good and Davis is healthy, that team is awesome. So there's a lot of teams in the West that I'm not going to say they're better than the Knicks, but I wouldn't be shocked if they get there and then they have a hard time. Watch that Rockets team, though. Fred VanVleet's healthy. They have a lot of length, and they're going to be scary, and the Thunder are the Thunder. But you have to get there first. There's not a team in the Eastern Conference I think is better than the Knicks. I'm not being a homer. I don't think this Cavs team is better than them. Could they be just as good? Sure. I don't think they're better than them. The Celtics aren't better than them. They should be better than the Sixers. The Hawks are good. I don't think the Hawks are better than them. The Magic are going to be better, but they're not going to be a contender. And then the rest of the Eastern Conference is average. The Miami Heat are going to be maybe a 6 seed, and they might win 43 games this year. So it's not a deep Eastern Conference.
Do you think, and before, we'll wrap this up in a few, but do you think this roster is going to be the roster throughout the entire season, or is there going to be some sort of major move? Obviously, Giannis was talked about maybe this offseason. It didn't work out, but that rumor was happening. Is there a move that the Knicks are going to make, you think, during the season that's going to be majorly impactful?
No. I mean, Giannis maybe, but why would the Bucks, if you're trading Giannis, why would the Bucks want Cat or OG? And I mean, honestly, Giannis is better than anyone the Knicks have. I'm not saying that, but I don't want to make that trade and then you have to give up two guys that matter. If Cat is all bought in, there's no reason why the Knicks can't win with this roster. If the Knicks are playing well and Cat's a problem, and they can get the Bucks to buy into trading for Cat, then yeah. But they're not going to do it just for OG and then a bunch of ancillary pieces and some picks. There's no young, and we're not trading Brunson. They would also probably wouldn't do it for Brunson. So I don't know. And then who else is getting traded? That's the other thing. So if now maybe there's a more ancillary piece, maybe like a sixth man type, or that maybe the Knicks make a trade for, but I doubt it. I mean, you have a legit roster right now. They may go out and get some guys in the buyout market or league minimum contracts towards the deadline, but this roster should be a good enough roster to get you into June, like late June, like whatever the NBA Finals is. I think it's late June, but it
feels like late June.
Like the Giannis stuff, I think he wants to be a Knick. I don't think that it's a possible fit. Like, Dame Lillard wanted to be a Miami Heat, and it might have been a fit, but the Heat didn't have anything to give up, and they also weren't willing to negotiate. So
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm pumped though. I'm fired up. It feels nice to have basketball, especially after the Mets and Yankees season we had.
Yeah, and then with the Rangers starting out with an 0-5 or whatever the hell they are, they can't score goals.
I'm not a Jets and Giants fan, so
yeah. The Denver, you got lucky. You got very lucky, my friend. You're lucky there was a fourth quarter to that game the other day.
Not to get into a different topic, but I was firing everyone at halftime. So,
Well, listen, I understand, dude. You guys were for 3 quarters. By the way, I think there was something going on there. You tell me if I'm wrong here. You watch the Broncos all the time. I know that they don't usually play bad defense the entire game, but it felt like they were playing like coy for like 3 quarters.
No,
letting the Giants dude, the hits by the Giants were over the top. That was the hardest hitting I've ever seen.
I thought early on the game was physical. I mean, listen, blown coverage on that first touchdown. This is not a criticism of Jackson Dart, but I'm saying it was an open. You got to hit that throw. Justin Fields has to hit that throw, which he might not be able to. But I'm saying you have to hit that throw, and the tip touchdown, that's 14 points right there. And I don't want to, get into it, but
oh boy,
BS PI call at the end of the game should have been offensive pass interference, but that led to 6 points.
It was pretty clear. There was a lot of bad calls. Listen, I'll sit there.
I'm not blaming the refs. I'll put it this way: if I was content, I thought the Broncos were losing after that. Jackson Dart scores. In my head, I'm not saying the refs cost us the game, so I didn't even want to make it about that. But I think defensively, Jackson Dart Dayball did a great job for 3 quarters, but Jackson Dart did a really good job, and he's to credit for. I don't want to just say the Broncos had a bad day. That was a lot of what Jackson Dart and Dayball were doing for 3 quarters. There was just a couple things. I don't think they were as bad as that. I still think after the Browns are the best defense in the league, but the Browns defense is amazing.
Yeah, well, listen, all I can tell you is I've watched every single minute of the Giants this season, and they have put together some amazing quarters, amazing halves, and they've had now 2 or 3 games where they've just blown. You could talk about the Dallas game, you could talk about the New Orleans game and the Denver game. Those 3 in particular. I mean, you want to talk about the Commanders. I know
Dallas and Denver, you have to win those games.
Right. And I think you still have to beat the Saints. I do.
I feel like they choked that away.
They gave the ball away 5 consecutive times. So it's it was awful. But the fact is, both teams are going to be good, and I think the Giants are heading in the right direction. And the Broncos, listen, you compile wins however you get them, you're going to be in the playoffs, and that's got to be a good feel for you. And it was a great day, by the way. Wow. It was listen, for the Denver Bronco fans, that was an amazing day. The festivities with celebrating the Super Bowl 50 with the Demaryius Thomas stuff. It was actually a really nice day. I was actually honored to be there.
It was cool. And, shout out to you for getting me the program, which is awesome. But no, you're right. And, I mean, listen, I don't believe in sports gods. It is always, crazy when something like he passed away at 33 and they scored 33 points in the fourth quarter. The Giants, dude, if you're a Giants fan, be excited. You might not make the playoffs this year, but you got something. Whether the coach is there or not, that kid at quarterback is awesome. And you have a good pass rush. And you have a good shallow secondary because if, the second and Debo got hurt and Holland got hurt, it changed the game.
Cordell Flott made the difference. Cordell Flott has been making the difference. The past 2 games, there's been no rotation with Deontay Banks and Cordell Flott. It's just been Cordell Flott. And until the injuries with Holland and Adebo, I mean, that was it. Banks hasn't been playing.
You have 4 really good players in that secondary. You have 4 really good pass rushers, and you have a good linebacker. They need some depth on defense, but they could survive with it this year and add to it as you get better cap situations, which they will next year, and go get a wideout. The Giants, I don't know what's going to happen with Dayball. I like Dayball. He makes a lot of head-scratching decisions. I also think that if you win more than you lose, if you know me, dude, I'm not a big Sean Payton believer. People love him. but I think he does a lot of head scratching things too. But it's all when you have an over 500 record and you don't have an over 500 record, those mistakes don't get put under a microscope as much.
Was he taking a shot at Russell Wilson? I don't think he was.
I don't think so, but I like that Russ. I'm not a Russ hater. I like that Russ stuck up for himself. It's been 3 years of him taking shots from everyone, and he's never once said anything. And I didn't like the way, listen, Sean Payton's done a good job with the Broncos. I didn't like the way he treated Russ on the way out. They were making the playoffs if they didn't intentionally tank themselves that year. And Russ is not the greatest at, he's not the greatest, PR guy. And he's also not the greatest quarterback anymore, or a good quarterback anymore. But I'm glad he said something because good for him. If he reacted to something that was not about him, but for 3 years, everyone's been taking a shot at him. Good for him. I don't think it was a shot at him. I think Sean Payton also loves himself and can't not talk. So whether it's the Hackett stuff and hey, just shut up, dude, please. Oh my God,
just keep on winning games and shut the hell up.
And it's funny, and I want to point out too, it's funny because he, like Nick Bonito, they're telling him to delete stuff. Like he tweeted at the Giant fans again, which good, you should. I mean, I'm sorry, Giant fans, but he deleted it after the game, and he said it's out of my hands. Clearly, Sean Payton's telling him not to tweet anything, but he's out here running his mouth, just like he's out here running at the refs, and then he's shocked when Dre Greenlaw is threatening the referees after the game.
Oh my God, yeah, though that was outrageous. Well, he did. The ref did push somebody. Who did they push? I mean, I don't know if it was like more like, hey, dude,
you can't do that. You can't do that though. And now Dre Greenlaw's gonna be out again. He just came back. But listen, Knicks, it's gonna be an exciting season, and Giant fans be excited because you got a quarterback.
And before I let you go, if you don't know this, Anthony Gallo and I. This is my better half right here for Gore Buddies, okay? This is...
Don't say that too loud. My girlfriend might hear.
Okay. Listen, here's the reality. And my wife might hear too, and that's okay. We do something very special that nobody else on the station does. We talk horror movies and talk all type of like thrillers and whatnot. We haven't done it a little bit, but we have to do it. And I just watched the remake of I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's on Netflix. I got to be honest with you. I wasn't upset. I wasn't upset.
I'll check it out.
There's a lot we got to get into because we got to get into the Gen V.
To get into. Also, you'll think this is hilarious. Saturday, I went apple picking, pumpkin picking in C-Mac's neck of the woods, Warwick.
Oh, nice.
And we ended up in Monroe, and they have this. It's like the Pure Terror Scream Park, and it's the Guinness World Record for the longest haunted attraction. It's like 45 minutes long. While you're the line is ridiculous though. It was like an hour and a half wait. While you're waiting in line, they're showing Terrifier 3.
Oh
and
my God.
It's the scene when they're in the mall. But this woman, it's a family of 4. I think like a teenage kid, which is fine, whatever. They find 2 parents and then a little girl. And the mom goes, "What Christmas movie is this?" And I looked at her and go, "Oh, it's not a Christmas movie." I guess technically it is, but I was like, hey, you should cover your daughter's eyes.
Yeah, you guys should try to move away from this scene right now. Like go anywhere else, close your eyes, whatever the case is. That is. I keep on talking about Terrifier with people. It's one of the Steve Summers. We just saw Steve Summers today. Yes. I tell him all the time, I'm like, you love the horror movies. Go watch Terrifier. I told Evan to watch Terrifier after the Mets lost game 162. It would put him in a better mood.
Might put him in a worse mood. Check out the Steve Summers interview. It should be on the YouTube page.
Yes, it is phenomenal. It is a great interview with BT and Sal and Steve Summers. But listen, Anthony Gallo, Pico Day _Gallo on X. Thank you very much for the time. I appreciate it. And listen, 1-0 with the Knicks. Let's try to keep on doing this because this is fun. Just breaking down the Knicks. That's what we like to do here. And as a big avid Knicks fan that you are, we need to have you back on again.
Oh, I'm not positive Tommy, but I am a positive Knicks fan. So I'm not delusional.
Championship.
82-0. Here we go.
Listen, but what's the over-under? What do you have on this team? I didn't even ask you that.
I don't know what the actual over-under number is. I'll put it at 59. I don't want to commit to 60, and 59 feels a little bit more attainable.
As long as you didn't say 70. As long as you didn't.
Not 72, no.
Well, listen, Ant, I appreciate it, man.
Thank you,
and we'll do this again soon, all right?
Yes,
that's
sir.
another episode of WFAN Daily, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.